So here we have the DC Multiverse Batman Begins Scarecrow. This figure is actually pretty decent. It's not good as far as accessories and or articulation, but you need this in order to pair it up with your Batman Begins figure. This is a red label figure, so there are not going to be any other releases or different variations of this one. Hopefully McFarlane is still able to make some Batman Begins or like Dark Knight trilogy wave figures. So we're going to go ahead and look at the accessories first, even though there's not that many, and then we'll look at the articulation and accuracy of the figure. Looking at the box, pretty basic DC Multiverse. So let's get right into the review. Like all DC Multiverse figures, you're going to come in with this collectible card. You guys can see where it says Scarecrow, Batman Begins. On the back, we do have a long bit of information here on the data file card. As you guys can see that, pretty decent, I guess. And of course, we do have a matte black stand where it says the DC logo right here. Really basic stuff. Now let's go ahead and look at the accessories. Looking at the accessory, he does come with two interchangeable hands. He does have a closed fist on the right hand and then an open palm fist on the left hand. Not sure exactly what is the use for these hands because he doesn't come with any handheld accessories, but definitely something just to mention. Pretty decent hands. I think I'll try to use his open palm hand just because it looks more relaxed, a little bit more realistic in my opinions. But this is all we have for accessories. This figure was $22 at Target, and I think it was like $24.99 at GameStop. A little bit more expensive there, not sure exactly why. So let's go ahead straight into the figure. We're gonna look at the articulation, accuracy, and just the overall, figure itself. As you guys can see here, we have the Scarecrow. This is actually a pretty decent figure. His hands and legs do look a little bit weird. You guys can see that his legs, like the pants piece mold, looks kind of funky. He can't really stand up all the way straight. Kind of have to like pose him just a little bit. I'm not sure if it's my figure specifically, but that's just the issue that I'm having. I was trying not to use a stand because I prefer using the figures without a stand, but this is what I end up having to do right here. So we're probably gonna look at articulation just a little bit better. We're probably gonna look at articulation a little bit after. As you guys can see, this figure is actually really well detailed. It does a little bit of paint application here above his shoulders, a little bit of wear and tear. I'm not really too concerned with the paint app as this is a basically basic figure. The mask looks really good. I'm pretty sure this is the same mask they use in the Build-A-Figure wave, which I don't have it, and to compare it with this figure. I didn't get the whole set for that figure. I wish I would have, because I was missing Scarecrow in order to build Bane, but I'll probably end up getting that sometime later. But overall, I'm pretty sure this figure has the same articulation, if not worse, than that one. But overall, basic suited figure with a basic mask. Would have been nice if it came with some kind of accessory dedicated to Scarecrow, but definitely a nice figure altogether. But I definitely think having an interchangeable head sculpt would have been pretty nice. So let's go ahead and look at the articulation of Scarecrow from Batman Begins. All right, so here we have the figure. We're gonna go ahead and look at the articulation first. And he does have double jointed knees and he is pinned, which kind of sucks. Would have been nice if it was pinless. The double jointed knees on both, and it's kind of weird like the way his legs want to like cross. Not sure exactly why that is, but also like the molding of the legs looks kind of weird. Looks kind of funky. Not sure exactly why they went with this style. I feel like they would have went with regular molded legs. It would have been better, I guess. And I feel like his pants are cut a little too short, or his shoes might be too small. Not sure exactly why that looks really weird. How it's cut here at an angle. He does have excessive toe articulation, which I guess I can appreciate. Foot does rotate 360, can go up pretty decently, can also go down. And when it comes to lifting up, it can go this high. Now you can't do both really great because it's restricted because of this plastic piece, but it looks, I don't know, man, this thing looks really weird. He kind of looks like the outfit's a little too big for him in my opinion. On the back looks a little wide. He can cross his legs right here. As you guys can see, when you cross his legs, he has that weird look. Not that this is an ideal form of posing, but definitely something to note. And you guys can see at the bottom has like the little ratchet thing. You can notice on the bottom it does have the little ratchet system, which is why it ends up making like a little ratchet sound for the most part. Overall, this bottom part is pretty weird. When it comes to ab crunch, he has like literally no ab crunch. He go back just a little. Yeah, he kind of go back a little bit forward, not that great. Now it's kind of weird. I really want to know how this thing looks without this jacket, but you can't remove it. Now when it comes to arm articulation, no butterfly joints, but I don't know. I think it maybe has somewhat butterfly joints. I don't know, kind of, or just some kind of weird rotation right here. His arm can go 360. It can go as high as this right here, so you guys can see. There you go. Hopefully double jointed elbows. Let's see, kind of wants to, but not really. Okay, so double jointed elbows, but it does look fairly weird right here. And then his wrist is not on, yeah, it's on a hinge, but it's like kind of weird, kind of tight a little bit. Not really sure what that is. And he does have bicep swivel, which is good, I guess. You guys can see that. If he had thigh swivel, would be kind of good. Oh, okay, and he can rotate 360 right here, which I guess that's good. Now I could tell that the head articulation is not going to be that great. Let's go see if we could turn it 360. That we can. He look somewhat down, somewhat up, look left, look right. You guys can kind of see his eyes just a little bit in that mask. Not sure if it's a molded, like how they molded it, but you kind of see his eyes just a little bit. Pretty good details, honestly. You can see a lot of details, or at least details in the sculpt of his mask. Pretty decent. And you guys can see like the paint application right here, a little bit more wear. It would have been nice if he had more wear and tear around the whole suit, but this is basically all it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove the hands and see exactly how well I can pose this figure. All right, so unfortunately both of these hands didn't want to come out. I might have to heat this up in some hot water, but I definitely tried to pull it, and I'm not trying to break it, but I'm putting a lot of force and it's not moving at all. So unfortunately I won't be able to show you guys how these hands look, but I'm definitely gonna end up putting this in some hot water because I kind of want to end up using this open palm hand look. So we're gonna go ahead and have him standing next to Batman and see exactly how cool these go alongside each other. I do believe that if you want to complete the look, having both of these figures definitely is a must. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to make a Raj Al Ghul figure, but having the Scarecrow right next to Batman or having them posed up in a different manner definitely makes this collection or this scene pretty ideal, pretty nice considering in Batman Begins, first movie, he's technically a villain even though you don't see him all that out often, and he does fight Raj Al Ghul towards the end. But definitely a nice addition to have this figure in the collection alongside with Batman, especially this Batman Begins, which is actually a really great figure from McFarlane. As far as whether I recommend getting this Scarecrow figure, if you guys can get this at a decently priced, I would recommend getting it, especially for retail. $22 is pretty steep for a figure so basic, but considering that's like their lowest market point for McFarlane toys, I definitely think it's a decent figure to pick up, especially if you're trying to add him to the collection alongside the other Dark Knight trilogy villains, alongside Two-Face, Bane, and or Joker. Definitely be doing a video with showcasing all my Dark Knight trilogy figures, so this is going to be a nice addition to that collection, but I will be missing the other version of Scarecrow because I just technically have no desire of getting that figure unless I can get it really cheap. But you guys let me know down in the comment section below if you guys liked this version of Scarecrow. I'll definitely rate the articulation. I have to do a 5 out of 10. Accessories, 5 out of 10. Accuracy and the way the figure looks, definitely a 6. I say a 6.5 out of 10. And the overall figure, definitely give it a 5.5 out of 10. Do I recommend getting this figure? Only if you, yes, only if you want to complete that whole Dark Knight villain collection. Besides that, this figure could be a pass if you have the other version. You definitely don't need both. This figure does have its flaws, but like I said, if you do need this to complete it, then I might add this to the collection, but it's not without flaws. And I'll see you guys in the next video.